Okay guys, I want to shoot a separate video for this power supply. Okay, sorry, picture's a little bit grainy there. Okay, so let me unplug this thing. Fan's spinning down, lights are off, and let me just kind of walk you through this thing. First of all, what I used is basically what I had sitting around the house. But it's a SeaSonic SS-350ET active PFC. It's a for a PC power supply, this is a low power. This is a low power model. It did have some efficiency features. I think this was one of the bronze 80s, but that really doesn't mean too much when you're using it low power if you're running just pedals, because the low power, the efficiency you only get when you're using 50% of the load. So at 350 watts, you have to be running about 175 to 200 in order to see that efficiency. But hell, I told you I just measured it on a kilowatt, and with all my pedals running, including the RC30, which is a big draw, it was 10 watts. That's not much. 10 watts is less than a light bulb, right? Okay, so what do I like about it? Okay, so the reason I bought this particular power supply to begin with, I was going to make a PC, and I like the big gigantic fan here. There's a big gigantic fan here. That's huge. That's not just a vent. There's a fan in there. I don't know if you can see those blades. And then it pulls air in through these vents here. Okay. And a nice thing about these things, they generally have a switch. You can turn the thing off. Pedal power to. No switch. And then you can kind of make out here. There are 6 screws, and two of these screws are each holding in a mounted PC board, which has a converter in there that converts the normal 12 volts DC to the 9 volts that I need to run pedals. And each one of these, they were super cheap on eBay. They're maybe like $4 or $5 a piece. Okay, I bought a bunch of them. They all worked. They came shipped from China. It took a little bit of time. There was a little dial on it, and then I just dialed into my voltmeter to get the 9 volts that I needed. Okay, so each of these are kind of set up. I actually set up to 9.2 volts because generally these power supplies actually run a little bit more, and electrically it's within tolerances for 9 volt application, but you can dial it into whatever you want. That's what I did. Okay, these can each, per the specs that were listed on the eBay site that I bought them from, said that they could go up to 4 amps with the heat sink that was supplied with it. And I applied those heat sinks to each of them, and frankly, they don't get hot. They don't get hot. That was, we buy things on eBay. You never know what you get. This stuff comes from China, but they had a they actually showed a picture of one hooked up to a current and a voltmeter, so they proved that it was running 4 amps. So I felt a little bit more satisfied. I don't want to run anywhere near 4 amps. That would be crazy. So I probably draw a maximum maybe like 500 milliamps with all of my pedals going. Okay, 500, which is still, I think this is 100 milliamps. It's still like 5 times the amount on each one of these. So this thing can handle way more power than you need to. Way more power. I think that the new Voodoo digital does 400 milliamps. 400 milliamps per isolated. I'm still beating that. I'm still totally beating that. I could do way more than that. So anyway, I individually isolated. I got the 3 things here. Okay, each one of these then goes to a fuse. Sorry, the holes aren't lined up. It's kind of difficult to drill it with the tools I had. So, well, who the hell cares though? In each of these, there's a fuse in here. I'm using a slow blow 2 amp fuse, which is pretty huge. I could probably get by with a slow blow 1 amp per. Okay, And then internally, each two of these is one of those. Okay, so these two are daisy chained, these two are daisy chained, these two are daisy chained. Okay, and there's just enough room. You might see that everything's below kind of an inch from the top all around. That's because of the fan, right? There's no space for it, so the fan is just running all along here, right? So I have to put everything below this and above all the internal components inside. Okay, this is just the double stick stuff for, you know, my pedal board. And you can run it one of two ways. I mean, if you got room, hell, just have it standing up like this, you know? I think that's cool. You know, I couldn't do that because I want to have it in a case and stuck in the pedal board. So usually I'm just going to have it down like that, right? And in this dimension, it's basically the same width this way as the pedal power is, right? I mean, I can just stack it on top so you can kind of see. All right, so you check it out. It's about the same width across there. So, you know, it takes up a little bit more real estate on a board. You know, if you just had it set up, hell, just do it like that. Works perfectly fine, right? Yeah, so, I mean, that's cool. Anyway, and then I was running this earlier today. It runs 10 watts. It's because there's a resistive load. You might see in there that white thing. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's like a white bar that's kind of running there that I kind of glued in there with some shoe glue. That's a 10 watt resistor. You have to put a load to these most power supplies in order for them to put out any juice. The other thing you need to do is you need to ground one of the plugs inside. Alright, and then it'll be fine. Okay, and it's a little tricky getting all the wiring to fit in, but you know, you do a nice job. It's worth it, right? So all in all, I think I originally bought this power supply for like maybe $25 or $30 on eBay, and like I said, I never used it, so I just, you know, decided to repurpose it. All the parts that I bought, these are I actually goofed a little bit here, but it's no big deal. Really, I shouldn't use, I wanted to buy nice jacks. These are nice jacks, but unfortunately, they're not the right kind to use for guitars because guitars reverse everything. All the usual electrical conventions are all reversed. So actually, in a guitar plug, the outside jacket here is positive and the inside is negative. I didn't know that when I originally made it, and I found that out later after burning a few fuses. And basically I just had to cut the cables and rewire it to change that convention. But in the future, you just buy instead a plastic one, and then just flip the, you know, so that it's isolated from the chassis, and you know, that would be the only change. I mean, I already made these holes, so I'm not gonna go back and redo it. But anyway, these here, eBay from China, they're maybe like, I don't know, $8 for all of these. These were super cheap. They came in a pack of 5 for like $2. These power supplies are also really incredibly cheap. I fit 3 of them in here. I would have put as many as I could fit, but I could only fit 3. Pretty snug. And I think they were like between $3 to $4 a piece. So what is that? $3, $9. I mean, I added maybe like less than $20 worth of stuff. And then all the wires, I just reused all the ones from the plug. You know, I cut those all off, sealed them off, and then I just reused all the wires inside here. All right, and that's basically all I did. A little tricky to cut these holes. You know, line them up. I did. You know, you can tell it's a little bit uneven, but you know, I just used a standard dull drill on my DeWalt, and that was basically it. So, anyway, hope this was interesting. Email me below if you got any questions. You know, happy to share. Bye.